Now, law enforcement shifting focus. We'll tell you how they're preparing for the upcoming Stagecoach Festival.
Plus, safety concerns grow as more e-bikes hit the Coachella Valley. Leaders plan to tackle the issue.
And we're tracking 90s through Wednesday before a cooling trend takes over for the weekend. Well, more on that full forecast coming up. NBC Palm Springs at 6 starts right now.
Now, this is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Olivia Sandusky.
And I'm Mark Messer. We start tonight with Pope Francis, who has died at the age of 88, the 266th pontiff, passing away early this morning.
And we're now learning that he died of a stroke and heart failure just one day after Easter, and that is our top story tonight. We have live images for you from the Vatican this evening. This is where they announced his death around 7:35 this morning near Rome. Earlier today as well, a rosary ceremony at St. Peter's Square was held for the late Pope. Toward the end of his life, Pope Francis battled a host of health issues. It left him feeling weak and often forced him to rely on a wheelchair or a cane. Most recently, he struggled with diverticulitis, pneumonia, and bronchitis.
We had eyes in Rome this week with one Coachella Valley resident present at Vatican City for Easter Sunday celebrations. She spoke to our Brett Rosen about the sudden death of Pope Francis just one day after he blessed her and the masses. Brett joins us live in the studio tonight with that story. Brett.
Mark, for Coachella Valley native Brenda Salmarone, this is the Pope she found her faith in.
Cari fratelli e sorelle.
Those remarks by Pope Francis would end up being some of his last ever said to the public. Pope Francis passed away early Monday morning at the age of 88, leaving many stunned who had just seen him speak not even 24 hours ago.
To hear the news, it was very sad and shocking because it was from a feeling of feeling blessed to a feeling of being how could this happen so fast, so soon? I just saw him yesterday. And
Brenda says the experience of seeing the Pope up close was like nothing she had ever felt before.
It was a blessing to even have the surprise of him showing up again. He dared to come out, and on top of that, he still rode around in the car between the crowd. So it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. I was able to see him from up close, passing by. So it was something special, and definitely my first time feeling something like that so big shared with so many people as well.
The biggest takeaway by Brenda was the way Pope Francis was able to connect to the people.
His personality, he always gave so much humor to all of his prayers, to every single one of his speeches. He always connected with the people, and seeing him go in the car. I do know the state he's in.
Brenda gives her grandparents credit for spirituality. Being able to capture the Mass in person was a defining moment for her.
It was more of a full moment to be over here and representation of them, just because I know that they're the main pillar for me. They're why I think and believe in what I believe in now. So it was very special, and I made sure to share that moment with them from beginning to end.
Pope Francis held his papacy for 12 years. As Brenda noted to me, as the first Latin American pope, he resonated within the Hispanic community, including her family. For NBC Palm Springs, I'm Brett Rosen.
Thank you, Brett. And more Valley residents reacting to the Pope's death today. Many Catholic fellowships here in the Coachella Valley are part of the broader Diocese of San Bernardino. We spoke with those remembering his life.
He was an inspiration to many. He did things different, and he was beloved by many. And even speaking about it now, it's real heartfelt.
Is that why you came to church today?
Yes. I thought I'd say a prayer, and just for his soul and for the church, that we keep going forward in the right direction.
For more local reaction to the Pope's death, we have that on our NBC Palm Springs Instagram, Facebook, and website pages.
Coachella is officially in the book, the event bringing tens of thousands of festival goers to the Indio Polo grounds. Headliners included Post Malone, Lady Gaga, Megan Thee Stallion, Green Day, amongst many others. The City of Indio estimates the festival generates $100 million in tourism revenue each year, massive boost to the local economy. And just this morning, the 2026 Coachella Festival dates were announced. It will be next April 10th through the 12th, and the second weekend is the 17th through the 19th. Advanced ticket sales go live on May 2nd. That's at 11 o'clock in the morning.
We have some images from earlier today showing the traffic as festival goers made their way out of the Coachella Valley. Oh, gridlock there on the 10 cars, bumper to bumper, heading westbound on the freeway. Some social media posts even saying traffic was backed up as far as Washington Street. It's a very typical scene for us at the end of the festival, especially Coachella, with so many visitors in town and looking ahead to another festival just next weekend.
And city officials now shifting their focus to Stagecoach. The Country Music Festival kicks off this weekend. It's once again expected to draw massive crowds. Officials with the Indio Police Department say they're reviewing security measures right now from Coachella. They're making adjustments to ensure that Stagecoach and the festival goers who come will stay safe. From traffic control to emergency response plans are in place right now to keep things running smoothly all throughout the weekend. In fact, our Know Before You Go expert, Chris Gunterson, reminds folks that while Stagecoach doesn't draw as many people as Coachella, it does bring larger vehicles like motor coaches and big trailers. These vehicles are expected to begin on Thursday morning. We've got Monroe, Jefferson, and Washington streets all seeing the heaviest traffic. And with that, let's give you a live look at the traffic right now, at least the parts that we can see from our Agua Caliente Casino camera and Rancho Mirage. And with that, we're going to send things over to Chloe Carlson. Any sneak peek to the Stagecoach forecast yet?
We do have a sneak peek, yes, and best conditions so far of all the festival weeks, I would say. I think the first weekend it was a little toasty, last week it was a little gusty. We got the perfect weather, 80s and some light winds, at least for right now, as we head into Stagecoach. Very excited for that. As you don't know, I love country music. I grew up on a farm, so I always look forward to this, talking about this. Zach Bryan is going to be headlining on Friday. A little bit of cloud cover all weekend long, which is great too. 80s for highs as we get into Stagecoach. Desert Rodeo will also be happening during the day in Thermal, just a 15-minute drive from the Stagecoach, from the fairgrounds there. So go check them out if you want just a full weekend of country. You watch a rodeo in the morning from 1 to 3:30. Get all your retail, your cowgirl gear, if you will, from the Desert Rodeo. Get your drinks and food there, and then head on over to Stagecoach in the evening for all of these artists. Zach Bryan, like I said, on Friday, 86 degrees. Jelly Roll, 83 on Saturday, 85. Slightly below average conditions all weekend long as Luke Combs finishes out Stagecoach on Sunday. So going to be a great weekend ahead for all those festivities. Outside right now, 94 degrees in downtown Palm Springs at the airport. Those winds, not too bad at this hour, 13 miles per hour from the northwest direction. Breezy for us mostly this week. It'll get a little bit gusty on Wednesday. We'll talk about that more in that full forecast. Right now, onshore flow with us. 22 mile per hour wind gusts in Palm Springs. Teens for the passer. So we'll call it breezy today for those winds. Beautiful conditions outside. Clear blue skies. Here's a look at your Computer 3-day forecast. So we'll say, as I mentioned earlier, kicking off the show, 90s through Wednesday, and then we'll see a cooling trend to ES below average as we head into the weekend. We'll break down more you can expect in that full forecast coming up.
All right, thank you, Chloe. New at 6 tonight, as electric bikes or e-bikes gain popularity across the Coachella Valley, discussions about safety and future regulations are growing. Our Antonio Marquez has more information.
That's right, electric bikes like this ones can be a health benefit or a health risk. The Riverside County Board of Supervisors has tentatively approved an ordinance restricting e-bike usage in unincorporated areas. The new rules would prohibit e-bikes on sidewalks, pedestrian overpasses, and underpasses.
For a reason, some folks are reporting that as an issue in which we are banning electric bikes. That's not the case. All we're doing, like you do with regular bikes, is that we just want to make sure that we have public safety.
Even though the city of Indio hasn't seen an increase in e-bike accidents, surrounding cities have. And while e-bikes offer many benefits, riders have responsibility to ensure they're used safely and responsibly.
We don't have a record of there being any issues or outstanding calls for service. We do see that they're popular, and we're seeing a bunch of them out on the street, but nothing significant being reported to us here at Indio.
And e-bikes might be dangerous if not used correctly, but the Indio Police Department is using them for the safety of the community.
To see us on the bikes. So as a PR standpoint, they're amazing. And then also as a patrol aspect, they're amazing as well because we can get in and out of intersections. We can get around the different businesses a lot quicker, and they're just a great asset to the department. Find yourself on a roadway that does not have a designated bike lane, the safest place would be to the furthest right, to maintaining the same course of travel with the vehicles. Here in India, we typically see bikes that range between 17 miles an hour and 27 miles an hour. We're going to ask folks that are going to be on these bikes to drive at a speed that's safe for the conditions that they're in. So somewhere between that range.
Where Brian Newman, owner of Petago, has seen the increase in sales, but he's also worried about the tariffs affecting them.
Assuming that there's going to be some tariffs added to, which it's coming. We're already seeing some limitations in products and some of the manufacturers pausing their manufacturing because of the additional costs that they're unaware of.
The regulations will be announced early next month. Antonio Marquez, NBC Palm Springs.
Our thanks to Antonio for that report tonight. Coming up next on NBC Palm Springs, the impact of the Los Angeles wildfires still being felt across the state. We'll tell you how one business in Palm Desert is stepping up to make a difference.
Also tonight, people living with disabilities take a stand today in Palm Desert. Will share their message for Congressman Ken Calvert after a controversial vote on Medicaid.
And we have your gold and silver prices to kick off the work week. Those headlines right after the break. Welcome back. The impact of the Los Angeles wildfires earlier this year are still being felt across the state, including here in the Coachella Valley.
For one business in Palm Desert, the impact is evident before you even walk in the front door. Our Caitlin Kelly tonight with those details.
If you walk into classic cleaners in Palm Desert these days, you'll find more than just the usual suits and evening gowns. Floor to ceiling boxes now line the shop, each one packed with fire damaged clothing, curtains, and bedding, shipped in from over 100 miles away. It's all part of a massive restoration effort after the devastating wildfires that tore through the Pacific Palisades. And now, this local dry cleaner has become an unexpected hub of recovery for families who lost nearly everything.
They package them, they bring them to me, I clean them, get the smoke out of them, okay, and finish them, and then package them again, and they come and take it. So basically, I am the restoration. They restoring the houses. So I do the clothes and beddings and the rest of the stuff.
But as dry cleaners nearly line every commercial roadway from here to LA, there's curiosity. Why send the items all the way to the desert?
It's hell over there, okay? I mean, there's smoke, there is smell, there is burned homes, and a lot of dry cleaners over there are involved, but not every dry cleaner has a big space that they can handle this.
In the last 4 weeks, Classic Cleaners has restored over 5,000 items for homeowners in Los Angeles, with that number expected to more than quadruple over the following weeks.
They bring one in and take one out. Bring one in, take one out. So it's a challenge, but sometimes I can't sleep at night. I'm wondering, what am I going to do tomorrow? And well, you're doing fine.
With NBC Palm Springs, I'm Caitlin Kelly.
Well, today, people with disabilities and their supporters rallying outside of Congressman Ken Calvert's Palm Desert office, urging him to reverse his vote on a proposed $880 billion cut to Medicaid. They say Medicaid allows them to receive care and to live independently. And this rally is part of a statewide week of action targeting lawmakers who supported those cuts. Calvert recently voted to advance the federal budget plan, which aims to reduce federal spending.
Giving you a live look tonight, this is our Indian Wells Golf Resort camera. Fuller Carlson standing by with your early week forecast. That's on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more. NBC Palm Springs News. Even astronauts tune in for their news fix. When it comes to top stories, we're on a whole new orbit.
And happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Right now, we're taking a live look at the Walter Clark Highway 11 cam in Rancho Mirage. Mostly clear blue skies today. We have a few high clouds out there today, but besides that, it was a beautiful day today. If you're outside doing your more morning stroll, afternoon stroll, run, whatever it may be. Definitely felt amazing out there. A little bit above average. There's some breezy conditions with us this week. They'll get a little bit gusty for the wind prone areas from Wednesday at 94. We're back to that in a second. 94 for the high space. We're slightly above average, as we will be for the next couple of days. 93 right now up in Napa Valley, 89 in Indio, 91 still in Palm Springs. Overnight tonight will be 60s here on the desert floor. So great conditions to go for those evening walks or strolls once that sun sets. As far as what we can see this week, that onshore flow will stay with us. So we're warm and dry, but winds from the west. We have a series of troughs that are passing to the north of us. Not coming through Southern California. The center of the storms will stay to the northwest, but it'll bring those winds from the west. So that'll stay consistent through this week. They'll pick up a little bit. There's a storm that's kind of developing over the course of the next couple of days to the north of us. As it starts to organize more and then move inland, we'll see those winds pick up on Wednesday as that front passes to the north of us. So still 90 to 94 for Wednesday, but then we'll see those cooler conditions as we get into later this week. So winds will be gusty as we get into Wednesday, as I mentioned, for those wind prone areas. We're talking sustained winds, 30 miles per hour. Those gusts will get into the 50s for areas like North Palm Springs. So keep that in mind with your Wednesday commutes. As I said, on the desert floor, just breezy for us all week. Here's the company 7-day forecast. So 90s through Wednesdays, we'll start to cool with those systems passing through, taking us to the low 80s by the weekend.
The NBC Palm Springs Sports Desk with Tim O'Brien. Brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos.
Oh, well, welcome back. Season 2 starts tomorrow night at Acrisure Arena. Everything that happened up to this point, well, just toss it all out the window. Firebirds hit the ice this morning, preparing for their first round series with the Calgary Wranglers. It'll be the third straight year now the two teams will meet in the postseason. Firebirds winning both of those meetings, but none of that matters from the past. This season, the Firebirds have won 6 of 8 games with the Wranglers. And for someone like Gustav Olofsson, who's been around for both finals runs the last 2 years, none of the regular season stats matter. And the excitement now turns to tomorrow when the playoffs start.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It'll be tough to sleep tonight. Looking forward to it, and yeah, we got a new group here to do it with, and we're just excited to play in front of these fans. It'll be great. Yeah, no, it's great sleeping in your own bed, knowing your fans are behind you. yeah, you have your mindset and your whole routine is the same as it has been all year. So it should be an advantage for us. And yeah, will give us a little extra energy too.
Well, with high expectations from the last two seasons, Coach Derek Laxdal certainly confident in his team and knows they'll be ready.
Well, we're excited to get the second season started here. Obviously, it's been a long year, 72 game schedule, a lot of ups and downs in the season, a lot of movement with our players, and a lot of growth with our young kids. So we're excited to get this first game. And obviously, we were watching the game yesterday with San Jose and Calgary, and Calgary came out with a win. So we'll open up tomorrow night against the Wranglers. Well, you know what? If when you really break the game down, every team has some different tactics on what they do, and we'll look at those tactics to be ready for them, and as they will be looking at us. So at the end of the day, I think this first game is going to be a lot of emotion in the game. It's a best of three. It's a quick series, so you really want to get to your game right off the hop. And like we said in our meetings here, we want to make sure that we address what we do best, and then we'll focus on Calgary.
Laxdal, no stranger to postseason success. He's won everywhere and every level he's been at in his coaching career. Speaking of coaching, a bit of shocking news out of Seattle this afternoon. The Kraken fired Dan Bilesma after just one season behind the bench. The Kraken finished in 7th out of 8 teams in the Pacific Division, so certainly not good enough for results-driven business. Bilesma led the Firebirds to back-to-back Calder Cup finals the last 2 years before getting the call-up to the Kraken. And on a side note, Kraken assistant coach Jessica Campbell, who was a former Firebirds assistant, has been retained by the organization. And following a meeting this morning with the Citrus Belt athletic directors, a new 14-team conference will be coming to the Coachella Valley. Now that means the Desert Empire, Desert Valley, and Sun Valley leagues will all join one big conference. Now the sections will be divided according by competitive equity. Now the goal is also to get as many teams into the playoffs as possible. So certainly good news for some of the teams here in the Valley. We'll have more information on it when it becomes available to us. Now for the Firebirds, again, game 1 tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We'll have full team coverage from Acrisure Arena beginning at 5 o'clock right here on NBC Palm Springs. That'll do it in sports. I'm Tim O'Brien.
And now the Agua Caliente Entertainment Report, brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos.
Disney World unveils a new perk for families. Starting next year, kids ages 3 to 9 can eat free with adult dining plans. The offer is only for guests staying at Disney Resorts Collection hotels. Bookings for most 2026 vacations open tomorrow. We'll be right back.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Brighter Side of the News is brought to you by Fiesta Kia. Discover the all-new Fiesta Kia located in the I-10 Auto Mall.
So while most adults look forward to recess, Elisa Perales from San Bernardino is about to graduate from college. Started reading at 2 years old, doing algebra at 5, and then started taking classes at Crafton Hills College at just 8 years old. And now she's only a month away from earning her degree. Next stop, she's hoping to get accepted to Stanford.
Wow, it's ambitious for a 10-year-old.
That's very impressive graduating college. I will say 2 years old reading is very impressive. Cam, we're not there yet, but she can repeat me when I read.
That's all right. That's a little.
Get a job. No, that's impressive, man. I struggle in my 30s, so it's pretty good.
I hope she doesn't skip out on all the fun parts of being a kid, because she's got so much homework.
I know.
See how things work out for her. That's going to do it for us. We're back tonight for the news at 11, but now we'll send things over to Fred Rogan to get the latest with the Rogan Report. Hey, Fred.
Hey, Mark. The Rogan Report is presented by The Living Desert.
You know, people complain about the pot plant in Cathedral City and that smell. It is official. They have had enough. That makes other people sad. We'll try to figure it out. Welcome to the start of a new week. Nothing changes here unless you talk about it over and over. For years, Highway 74 has been dangerous to drive, but nobody said anything because it was what it was. What it is unsafe because of big trucks. You know, that road is narrow, and trucks that cross over the center line could crash head-on into another vehicle. Now, we're going to show you some footage shot over the weekend. There was no accident, but imagine what could have happened if another vehicle had been coming the other way. Here we go. Look at the truck carrying that car. Watch it drift over the center. There you go. It's certainly over the line. Now, we continued following this truck. Watch. There you go. Right over the line. One more time. Imagine if somebody had come around the corner and that truck had drifted over the line. It would have been a complete and total nightmare. One more time. Very close to the line. And there you go. You know, it is amazing, basically, that no one else has lost their life on that road. Assemblyman Gonzalez continues to try and craft a bill in the state assembly that would keep big rigs off Highway 74. And it can't come soon enough. So recently something caught our eye. Technically, there's nothing wrong with it, but it certainly raises some questions about conflict of interest in judgment. We thought it was odd. The mayor of Coachella, Steve Hernandez, and city council member Stephanie Vergeen were also on the staff of Supervisor Manny Perez and paid by the county. So what is their priority? The citizens of Coachella or the best interests of District 4? Or can they, while they're working for Manny in District 4, advise or influence him to do things for the city of Coachella to the exclusion of other cities? Doesn't look right. If you're elected mayor or to the city council, shouldn't your sole focus be the public service where the city elected you? Dig a little deeper. Hello there. That's Grace Garner. Who's Grace Garner? She too was on Manny Perez's staff. She's also on the Palm Springs City Council. Who do these people answer to? Manny Perez or the people that elected them? So looking at this, Manny should have a council member from every city on his staff. So there's no question of impropriety. Weather here in the valley is going to really heat up soon. For many, it's unsafe to be outside of the heat. Imagine if you live outside in the heat. Imagine if you're homeless. Imagine if someone gave you a place to live, but you decided to stay outside. In San Jose, homeless people were given shelter and a place to live. Many said no thank you and returned to the streets. City officials were baffled. They wanted to clean things up, but the homeless wouldn't let them. Now they're considering arresting them. Our contributors tonight, Brian Harnick and Tammy Black. Brian, what do you think of what San Jose is doing?
I think it is wrong to criminalize this, but there is a history here, Fred. We used to institutionalize homeless people and mentally ill people. When we realized that was not solving the problem, we used the criminal system. We would arrest these people for loitering or for doing inappropriate things or panhandling, but the criminal system couldn't handle it. So now we decriminalized it. Now we're stuck with the problem. but you can't throw mentally ill people or people merely that have drug issues and other problems that give rise to homelessness. You can't just throw them back in jail. It's a revolving door. They're not going to get the help. I understand the frustration of the city, of businesses, of communities. Homelessness is a terrible problem, but you can't criminalize it and throw it in jail. These are human beings that are at just a terrible condition. We gotta be compassionate, and we gotta be fair. Tammy, I wonder what you think about this.
Well, I don't think that it is a criminal issue. I think it is an economic issue. I think there's a lot of factors involved, of course, but I don't think that we can jail or arrest or fine our way out of this mess. We've been dealing with this for years and years and years. And I think that, there is an answer with all the intelligence that we have working. We should be able to find it. But I have to say that a multi-set of priorities should be set up so that we can not only just provide housing, but showers and a central phone base for job interviews or things like that, and clothing. I mean, let's get them educated, let's get them housed. I know that we're spending so much money on this. Look, I pay my taxes for my parks and recreational areas and things like that, and I am often not able to use them because they're covered in trash and people, but homeless people. But I'm not without empathy. I mean, and I can see that you're not either, Brian.
All right, let me jump in.
What is the answer?
Let me jump in on this one. Here's the bottom line. We're going to move on, but here's the bottom line here. You can't help people that don't want to be helped. Tammy, I hear what you're saying. Brian, I hear what you were saying.
Yeah.
But if you go up and offer help to someone and they turn it down, you've got to figure out how to fix that. All right, let's move on. You might find it hard to believe, but when I was a kid, I drove people crazy. I know, some things never change. And when I stepped over the line, my parents spanked me. When I was young, there was a lot of spanking. When we had kids, we never spanked them. And I believe that the way things were done today is the way it is, but apparently I'm wrong. Views on spanking changing worldwide, but in the United States, spanking is still a thing, and not just with parents. 19 states still allow teachers to spank your kid. When I was in grade school in Arizona, I got swats with a paddle. Contrast that to the fact that 68 countries have banned the hitting of children in any form. Started in Sweden back in '79. No physical punishment, including spanking in any setting, including your own home. People in the United States generally accept spanking as part of raising kids. 56% of U.S. adults agree. Sometimes it is necessary to discipline a child with a good hard spanking. Okay, Tammy, what do you think? Spanking, yes or no?
Spanking is different for different people. So right there, you have an issue. Showing force shouldn't require aggression. And I think that we have alternatives. I was never spanked, probably because I was such a wonderful child. But I think that we have choices. I mean, you can have timeout, you can have chores, you can have consequences. I don't think anything healthy comes from spanking. I'm not sure how you feel, Brian, but I would sure be interested to know.
Well, a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work, and over legislation drives me insane. Certainly, a teenager, you don't spank a teenager. You don't spank somebody and hurt them. But a 3-year-old toddler is about to stick their finger in an electric socket or into fire, you smack them on the wrist, and that's the way you teach them. So appropriately, it's okay. But most of the time, we're talking about inappropriateness. This one-size-fits-all mentality doesn't work. Give the rights to the parents. This isn't abuse. Parents love their children and want to help their children. Beating a child, of course, is over the line. Let's allow parents to parent. I agree that schools shouldn't be doing it. Other people shouldn't be doing it. Parents should have a right to parent their kid as long as they're not violating the law and crossing over the line.
All right.
So Brian and Fred, when does spanking become hitting?
Okay, well, look, I look at it like this. We didn't spank our kids. I got spanked. My mother also chased me around the house with a fly swatter. And if I was really bad, she'd come at me with the project. When I was in school in Arizona growing up, in Detroit, nothing. But in Arizona in grade school, swats, wooden paddle. But they did outlaw the paddles with the holes in them. If you remember, if you're old enough, they could just swats with the wood with holes in them, and those were painful. I don't know. I just look at it like this: to each their own. I think both of you. We just never spank our kids. Okay. Carol was watching the show last week and saw a neighbor ask a question she also needs answered. Last week, someone in La Quinta looking for a nearby well-priced smog check location. I too am a La Quinta resident and need the same service. Did anyone contact you with suggestions? Well, unfortunately, not yet, but there is still time. Someone out there help us, because that's how you become a good neighbor. Shonda in Thousand Palms looking for someone to sew a pillowcase for her. She has the material, just needs someone who can sew it. Barbara, Palm Desert, is looking for a lightweight electric scooter to buy. Melissa in Palm Springs looking for a roller skating club for women over 40. She loves to roller skate for exercise, but likes to do it with friends. And Patricia in Rancho Mirage needs a referral for an electrician that can install a split unit in her garage without emptying her bank account.
Some things work, some things don't. How do we know what's what unless you tell us? Find Fred on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fred Rogan. You can also email thedesertdean@gmail.com.
All right. Conflict of interest, yes or no?
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating, and we couldn't agree more.
So Tony watches the show on a nightly basis. He noticed something and he was puzzled. Enjoy your program at Attitude very much. Question: what are these structures being built on Jackson Street in Indio, north of the railway overpass and south of the Wash Freeway overpass, west side of the street? Well, Tony, there they are. They're just for shade. We reached out to Indio, and the lovely Karina let us know that the project has been in development for several years. Structures are shade installations funded through a state grant, not city funds. The goal of the grant was to enhance pedestrian comfort by providing shaded walkways, especially in our desert climate. Sounds great, and they are pretty cool looking too. Does it annoy you when you tell someone there's a problem and they say, no, there's not? When you specifically say this is an issue and they tell you, no, it isn't. When they do that, they don't think very much of you. They don't hear you. I am still getting emails about the pot smell in Cathedral City. Well, we have been reporting on that for what seems like forever. First, the city, be it the city manager or city council, didn't take it seriously. Basically said it wasn't that bad. So we started hammering and hammering. Outraged residents spoke out at city council meetings. They installed odor meters at their own cost to prove there was something wrong. So residents had to convince the city there was a problem instead of the city addressing it for their residents. The city finally did something. They announced they would place a moratorium on new cannabis plants, which is great, but did nothing to address the current situation. That's like saying, oh my God, there's a tiger running loose, but don't worry, we've made sure no other tigers can escape. It says nothing about the one that's still running around. From the emails we've received, residents are to the breaking point. The city has let them down. The day of reckoning is coming. By not listening and taking care of a problem, that now the city will deal with a much bigger problem. Cathedral City is going to pay. The city manager and or the council are to blame. They won't be able to say, there's no problem here. Now that pot smell in Cathedral City continues to affect residents, and we keep talking about it until something happens. Now, we got this from Mark, who has a unique take on the offensive odors. When people smell the marijuana on Ramon, that means they're inhaling marijuana. Anybody consider that everyone who smells the marijuana and is therefore inhaling pot may get a little high? Everybody who smells the marijuana could be getting a contact high. Children, babies, pets, the elderly, and those who may be trying to stop their dependency whether they want to or not. Maybe it's time to sue, not for the smell, but for inhaling a drug that is in the air. Well, I'll tell you something. Luckily, Director Max has an advanced PhD in onerous olfactory education from the 420 Institute of Dank Dope Dogma. That is quite the school he went to. So, Max, are the people in Cathedral City getting a contact high?
Wait, what?
Now we need to address an issue that one of our viewers has brought to our attention. Got to tell you, being called the new voice of the Valley really is very nice, and I was not expecting this type of support. And well, that was very nice. That's okay. And that comment there. What a nice comment. I mean, the support. Okay, that's a great comment. All right, thank you very much. I mean, this is getting a little overwhelming.
The Rogan Report, the new voice of the Valley.
They're everywhere. I can't get away from them.
Weeknights at 6:30, only on NBC Palm Springs.
Okay, well, that was the promo David wrote us. Please stop playing that new commercial of yours with a message of obnoxious notifications binging. My dog hears that and retreats to the bedroom, hides under the bed, and I can't get her out. No, this is not a cute little story, but seriously, the health and well-being of my dog is at stake. I think ITOR and our promotions department really did a great job on that. But even if one person is unhappy, we have to try to fix it. So, David, here is a special version just for you with some cool jazz. Got to tell you, being called the new voice of the Valley really is very nice, and I was not expecting this type of support. And that was very nice. That's okay. And that comment there. What a nice comment. I mean, the support. Okay, that's a great comment. All right. Thank you very much. I mean, this is getting a little overwhelming. That squeaking was actually the sound of a chew toy for a dog. David, you're welcome. Now the question, how hot is it going to get? The only way to find out is to check in with Chloe in super weather.
What? Oh my God. Fred, seriously? Done. Bye.
Hi, here come the playoffs.
Riddle me this. What can be broken but never held?
I got this. Right. Okay, for the third consecutive year, the Firebirds are in the playoffs. Game 1, the best of 3 tomorrow night against Calgary at Aquashore Arena. Tim O'Brien joins us.
The Rogan Report.
All right, Tim, welcome back.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Here we go.
Yeah.
3 years in the playoffs. This year should be a little different, though.
3 years against Calgary, too.
Yeah.
A little bit of a rivalry. Yeah, it's different this year. Look, I think there's 9 or 10 rookies in the lineup at any given point. So that right out of the gate is different from the last 2 years of a veteran-heavy team. They're not winning a whole lot at home the last 2 months. I think they've got one maybe win in the last 6 home games. So, and they're not scoring. So does all that go out the window once the postseason starts? You'd like to think so, right? It's a second season.
Better go off the window. But if you look at it like that, really, is it surprising they're even in this position?
Yeah, I think there was that stretch there at 12, 13 games where they got hot and they carried it. They never lost more than 2 in a row. If they did, it happened once. So there's some consistency there. And this team this year had more transactions back and forth from Seattle than the first 2 years combined. So we saw what it meant to be a minor league affiliate here this season.
Okay, what should the keys be? What should fans look for?
Yeah, well, Calgary, super physical, much more physical than the Firebirds
And
are.
big.
Huge. They
Yeah.
just clog up the entire ice. They've got to get the puck deep, and they've got to beat the defense back behind the net. If they do that, cycle them, play their game, they'll be okay.
All right, so some surprising news today that the man that took the Firebirds to the Calder Cup Finals the previous 2 years, Dan Biles, hired in Seattle, fired after 1 year. Did that shock you?
Yeah, I think, I'd say yeah. I mean, they didn't play well. They finished second to last in the Western Conference.
Yeah, they didn't really have anybody that could play.
They didn't. That's why the Firebirds saw so many guys go up and down because of injuries in Seattle. I don't think it was the right move. I don't think it's fair at that point, but results driven at the end of the day, and here we are.
Okay, so some fans here think, okay, this is great news. I mean, now he can come back here and coach the Firebirds again. The problem is the Firebirds are Seattle's minor league affiliate, AAA affiliate. They're not going to fire the guy in Seattle and send him back to work for them again.
Yeah, no, certainly not. Because that guy, if you were to do that, has to work for Ron Francis again. And Ron Francis, the GM, just fired him. So that's not going to happen. And Derek Laxdal's done an unbelievable job. I know there's some uncertainty and he's not a fan favorite just yet. They still got home ice in the first round. They lost 112 goals from last year's roster. And here they are with 84 points and back into the playoffs. So give the guy a chance.
2 out of 3 tomorrow, and then what? Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday if necessary.
Sunday if necessary.
Can they win the series?
I think so. This is the matchup you wanted. Everybody's going to be difficult, right? You play each other so many times in this division, but they had a really hard time with San Jose this year. Really, really hard time. So you got guys like Andrew Podorowski, old friend here, who just won the scoring title in San Diego. So that's a tough matchup for Ontario. And so you wanted Calgary. I think they can get it done. They're 6-2 against them in the regular season.
All right, thanks for hanging.
Of course, thanks.
Okay, and we're back with your daily dose of cuteness right after this.
They say dogs are a man's best friend, but at NBC Palm Springs, we're a dog's best choice for news. Apologies to our competitors, but even your dogs know who leads the pack in news.
Night after night, discover the unique stories that set our valley apart. Together, we're going to find inspiration and foster connections that strengthen the fabric of our community.
Babies are experts at paying attention to only what is genuinely fascinating. And we couldn't agree more.
The Rogan Report was presented by the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens.
With temperatures rising, some suffer from excessive sweating.
Please towel off before writing the show.
Find Fred on Facebook and Instagram at Fred Rogan or email thedesertdean@gmail.com.
What can be broken but never held? A promise. Keep your promises.
All right, during Good Neighbor, a couple of people wanted to know about Smog Check. You know, I check your emails during the show on the breaks. Mike wrote and said, you want a good smog check? Mike Smog Check in Indio. And Susan wrote and said, Smog Check, Shell Station, Avenue of America's Palm Desert. Job well done. Go to the website because we work 24/7. Click on the Rogan Report. Our content from tonight's program will be up there, our entire episode, and content from past shows as well. Also, check us on NBC Palm Springs Facebook and Instagram. Appreciate you watching. Have a great evening. We look forward to it.